Buenos dias and welcome to the second episode of MATC Now, our weekly news program where we give you a rundown of everything here happening at MATC. I'm your host, Audrianna Hutchinson, and we have a great selection of stories for you today. Producers Genesis Lopez and Audrianna Reina are going to give us insight on the Day of the Dead and how it impacts Hispanic students here at MATC. Producer Samuel Berghammer has talked with former television production student Ryan Lemire Gonzalez about how MATC has affected them. And Chef James will show us how to make a delicious smoothie. All these great stories and more coming up next here at MATC Now. Welcome back. Today I am joined by Mariela Munoz Godinez, a first-year TV and video production instructor here at MATC. Hi Mariela, how are you doing today?
Doing fine, doing fine.
That's good. What do you do here at MATC?
I teach the first-year students TV 101. I love it.
Okay. I'm sure that the students filming this now are very glad to have you as a teacher here. Now that we've gotten to know a current teacher here at MATC, let's go to see what our very own social science program has to say about the lovely tradition of the Day of the Dead.
I teach, at times I've taught valuing diversity, so then we do talk about the Mexican culture, and that would be part of it. I also currently teach death and dying and various cultural traditions on how people celebrate life and death and or mourn it. So that would also involve traditions such as Day of the Dead. I actually have them prepare in their mind what would happen if they were to learn they were dying or if they would pass away. So they write a letter to a loved one. And I know some of the assignments are a bit challenging, but it actually helps them reflect on the future and to deal with the idea, because we don't like to talk about it, right? So they write a letter to a loved one. They do a funeral plan. They go to the cemetery visit, and they also are able to choose a film of their liking. I have a list, but they can choose one that talks about death, reflects on death, and gives them a chance to write about it in the film and see. There's a whole bunch of different films to choose from. A lot of my students are taking the course for that purpose. They're dealing with either somebody who's terminally ill or has recently been killed or passed away. Some of them are dealing with some very serious issues, and this course that helps them get some closure and also gain some insight. Others have elderly parents who maybe they're caring for, or they're getting to that stage where they have to help make decisions, and this also helps them prepare. Or they've experienced some serious type of event in their life that's impacted them. I've heard of Day of the Dead pretty much my entire life. My uncle's from Mexico, but my family doesn't always necessarily celebrate it because he transitioned to the United States, and when he came here, he more or less assimilated. But I also have a background in Latin American studies. Typically, it's been celebrated actually for approximately 3,000 years, and it's a holiday that remembers that the dead that have passed, and they believe that on that particular day, the souls of their loved ones find their way back home to their living families. I do remember my family on that particular day, specifically now because my father passed away last year. So it's a really important day to remember loved ones. You can set up a table or an altar, light a candle, share past memories, recollect and reflect, and go visit a cemetery. So I will go visit my father and sit at his gravesite. Many people, for adults, will bring alcohol, food, beverages, flowers, lots of flowers, and just sit and reflect. And you can also have family day events for the Day of the Dead at your home, like have a dinner and have photos and have discussions. like nostalgic memories. Death means to me that you're going on another journey. I don't see it as the end. I see it as just another stage in our lives. When I teach Introduction to Sociology, we teach about socialization. And I always say that socialization begins before you're born, and I don't believe it ends when you die. I believe there is an afterlife, and that's just my belief system. In the sense, what I'm saying is socialization, we teach people how to behave, right? And when you know someone's having a baby, we have gender reveal parties, and we automatically buy boy clothes or girl clothes, things like that. It's just what we do. So it begins before, and I don't believe it ends after you die.
Milwaukee has plenty of live events to be a part of, but who is behind the scenes putting those to the screen? That would be MATC's own Ryan Lemire Gonzalez, but his time at MATC gave him a path you would not expect.
I was in the TV production program at MATC. I think I went in 2011, graduated in 2013, I want to say. I actually was working in the industry before I became a student. There was a lot of things I didn't know, and I heard a lot of good things about the program. I worked with a lot of people that graduated the program, that went through the program. So I decided to give it a shot, and it was great. I learned a lot. Some of the most valuable skills I learned in the program were probably working as a team and having deadlines that needed to be met. But getting to go through the program, I got to manage a team, kind of manage every aspect of projects, which was a position that I don't think I would have ever been put in if I would have just kept on the path I was on. As the director of live production, I mean, we're a small company. People, potential clients come to us and say, hey, we have this event that we want to do and we're interested in Mindpool Live. So I'm pretty much there from concept to completion, and then I help put together the crew, so we establish what we need for gear, location, people on site, what the schedule is going to look like. I really have my hand in every aspect of production here.
Ryan has done work at accomplished events such as Summerfest, Rock the Green, and Live at the Lakefront.
The program prepares students for the real world more than I think any program I've ever seen. I actually did a year at UWM Milwaukee in their film department, and when I went to MATC, it was like within the second week you were touching cameras and you were working on productions within a few months after that. And by the time you leave, the experience you gain going through the program is as close to real world as you can get. I work with alumni from the MATC television program on a very regular basis. I would say 90% of our productions have alumni on it. I think the TV program prepares students for a lot of different forms of media because it really builds a foundation of a work ethic, which you need in this industry. You might not work in television like me, for example. I'm not technically working in television, but I do a lot of live streaming. A lot of foundationally of what we are doing is based in television production.
For students considering TV, Ryan has done everything that the program has to offer.
It's a lot of hard work. I would say it's a fantastic program and I would highly recommend it, but I would be prepared for the schedule, the work, and to put the work in. And that's the only way you're gonna survive and thrive in the program, is if you put the work in.
I love hearing what students of the TV program go on to do after they finish their time here. It's great to see just how many opportunities one can have from the programs here at MATC.
Now that we heard a little about the holiday today, I'd like to ask you a few questions about your experience with the holiday.
Sounds good.
Okay. So my first question for you is, what do you love about your job here at MATC?
Well, here at MATC, I love working with diversity of students, training them for future opportunities and, work, because there is many opportunities that they can have working as producers, editors, videographers. We are opening the doors to new generations to just move on in a great career.
I like that answer. So what do you find most rewarding about your job?
I think having the connection with former students, every time a new student have questions about the job, any job opportunities, I can connect them and talk to someone who already have the experience. Like for example, if someone is into editing and they are like, I'm afraid and I think I'm not ready, I connect them with someone who is already in the industry to talk about, everything they do. And that way, it will be super easy for them to feel ready. Because sometimes you may be afraid because you don't know. It's just one thing that you do in the classroom and a different thing that you do in a job field.
Yeah, so you help them with their connection.
Yes, I help them with the connection.
So can you tell us about how did you get into TV?
And TV, I was in high school, and I got the opportunity to become the host of an entertainment video music show called Solo Los Mejores, Only the Best. And I get to interview famous people who come to Wisconsin, and I travel to Chicago or anywhere in the United States, like Florida to the billboards, for example. And then I decided to get enrolled into the TV and video production program to get the experience behind the camera.
Oh my God, that's so amazing. So how does it feel to see some of your students that, work in this production that we're doing today?
I love it, and I'm so happy that I got the email and they were like, Mari, can you be my host? That made me feel really good, and to see them succeeding in life.
That is perfect. So today our subject is the topic of the dead. So can you tell us how you have celebrated the Day of the Dead?
Yeah, in El Salvador, because I'm originally born in El Salvador. When I was a child, El Dia de los Muertos, we used to go to visit Grandpa and my Uncle Roberto and all the family members that we love at the cemetery. And we bring flowers and we had like a picnic. It's interesting how families celebrate like a picnic. And we had music and we bring everything we remember, like if Tio Roberto loved to swim, we bring a picture of him in the beach, like in La Playa. And then Grandpa, he used to smoke, and we bring the, his cigar to the cemetery. And then all the families get together, and then we stay all day, and you can stay all night in the cemetery. Here in the United States, when I move in, I learned about the altars, and now we celebrate to put a picture in the altars to the loved ones.
Oh my God, that's so amazing.
Yes.
So do you still celebrate some of your childhood traditions?
Yes, we do. And what I'm doing right now is in November, normally we have the pictures of all the family members. We get together with the family to talk about the family members and talk about all the good things, we recall, and we pass it on to all childs, like my childs and my nephews. They know great-grandma, great-grandpa, because we talk and we celebrate the life of them, and that's exciting.
That is so amazing. So my last question for you is what is your favorite thing about the Day of the Dead?
I think it's remembering the loved ones, because this is the opportunity that you have to share, all your experiences and not to forget them. I know they are in a different world, and this is the opportunity for us to keep them alive.
Well, that's awesome. I loved hearing about you and the Day of the Dead. Thank you so much for giving us some insight into how you celebrate the Day of the Dead. Now student producers Addisina Reyna and Genesis Lopez are going to give us their perspective on this wonderful holiday.
Dia de los Muertos, also known as Day of the Dead, is a significant Hispanic holiday that revolves around remembering deceased loved ones. From parts of the United States and throughout Central America, it is very popular to celebrate, incorporating traditions passed down from family to family. Many people celebrate this holiday similarly but different.
As students coming from a Hispanic background, this time of year we love to seek out art and anything related to Day of the Dead. It inspires us to not only participate, but to truly connect with the tradition passed down from our ancestors. We paint our faces as skulls, also known as catrinas, and create ofrendas to cherish and remember our family. My abuelita always spoke to me in Nahuatl, which is the language of the Aztecs, and to me, that is something I will always cherish and be proud of in my culture. Different languages, different cultures. We are all still the same. Now let's learn a little bit about altares y ofrendas.
Well, I'm the Managing Artistic Director at Latino Arts, and with that, I get the privilege of curating all the exhibits that come into our gallery. And every year, I have the immense pleasure of curating the Dia de los Muertos Ofrendas exhibit. This exhibit has been going on for quite a few years, but I've had the pleasure of curating it for the last 6. I get to work closely with the community members, artists, school groups to organize this beautiful exhibit for our community. Became familiar with Day of the Dead when I was still a teacher. So I took it up, I took it as a great responsibility to learn as much as I could about the tradition. And I think like most people, when they first learn about Dia de los Muertos, they learn about it either from their Catholic faith or being Mexican, right? Because in the United States, the majority of the people understand Dia de los Muertos through the very colorful celebration. It has this deep historical and cultural background there. And its cultural roots are just embedded way back to pre-colonial times. I got a chance to learn about the celebration from friends in the community, participants that come and teach you a little bit more. We have the great fortune of having the participation of the Mexican consulate here in Milwaukee. The mission is building cultural bridges through this programming so non-Hispanic folk can come to get to know our community through what we think is the best possible way, which is the cultural arts. The more we look at our cultural heritage, you will find more similarities with people that don't look like you than you are going to find differences. And I think through that, we can continue to build a much more closer community. Dia de los Muertos is not an aesthetic. It is a deeply cultural and historical significant celebration for our community. A balanced look at what is historically significant, what is authentic, and what isn't. Very surface observation of the altares, you're gonna find candles. You're gonna find the Flor de Muerto, marigold in English, cempasúchil in Nahuatl. You're gonna have different foods that were favored by the person being commemorated. You're going to find the tapetes made out of flower petals. You will always have a glass of water and a bowl with salt. An ofrenda is an offering. It's something that you're giving to the spirit of your loved ones. You're giving it back to the earth. The first part of the mission is to preserve and conserve cultural traditions for our own Hispanic community because our Hispanic community is very diverse. And one of the things that we have to acknowledge is that it's multi-generational. So we have first-generation immigrants mixed in with, 4th, 5th, and 6th generation Mexican Americans, Colombian Americans, and a variety of different, hyphens that are Americans. So we want to have a space where we can have a connection to those cultural roots. And Dia de los Muertos is a very important celebration.
Since March 2020, the severity of cases of COVID have been rampant throughout the whole country, even in the city of Milwaukee. Recently, MATC has been helping the community with more access to the vaccine for the faculty, staff, and students at all campuses, with the help of North Shore Pharmacy.
For the last few months, North Shore Pharmacy has been coming on site to the different MATC campuses to offer initially first and second doses of the Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and now we're getting folks coming in for their annual flu shot. We're getting folks coming in for their booster dose of the Pfizer vaccine. So today we gave easily over 130 total doses of vaccine to both students and faculty. Steps that are in place right now for mitigation: spacing out, masking, getting immunized. So we saw plenty of teachers and educators in today, and other support staff that are in this building every single day. And those measures make a difference when you look at the collective group of people that come into this building every day.
I think we need to look at this virus not as a choice, but it's a common enemy. Some people are saying it's my choice not to get vaccinated, and then, you know what, if that's your choice, that's fine. There is no right or wrong. It's everyone's common enemy right now, and we all need to do what we need to do as a community to prevent the spread of disease amongst your family and friends, and look out for your neighbor or your classmates. All vaccines have had rare cases of major side effects, but for the overwhelming majority of people, the side effects are, maybe a day or so of feeling tired, a little fatigue. I would say I would rather take a day where I'm not feeling up to 100% and maybe need a nap over ending up in the hospital on a ventilator. People are getting sick, young people are getting hospitalized, and the only way to be sure that you would come through a possible infection with minimal disruption in your life would be to get vaccinated.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Hey, I gotta get back to lab. I don't know about you guys.
Consider helping the community by doing your part to fight the pandemic. For more information, visit matc.edu/coronavirus.
It is truly heartwarming to know that MATC is doing their part in fighting the pandemic. Keep an eye on your email for the next date for the clinic near you. So, MATC's Stormers season may not be in effect, but there's still a lot for them to do.
That's right. We have got our field correspondent, Courtney Bondar, out investigating how the Stormers are starting to get ready. Courtney, how is going down there?
Great. It's a very busy time down here at MATC while student athletes are getting ready to prepare for their season to start. Joining me today is softball coach Terry Wagner. Hello, Terry. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Thanks for having us on.
Definitely. So could you talk to us more about the sports offered here at MATC?
As far as the sports offered here, we've got 9 different sports, I believe, that are offered here: tennis, basketball, volleyball, soccer, and softball. Baseball on the men's side.
Definitely. So I understand you are a girls softball coach. Could you explain more about the season?
Yeah, correct. Currently, we're in our fall season, which is an abbreviated season. We play a selected amount of games or scrimmages in that. And it's more or less just to get the ladies into the field of working with one another and that stuff before our real season starts in January, around January 10th of 22.
Definitely.
Next Wednesday.
So how do you prepare your team for the season?
With a lot of practice and workouts, sports conditioning, make sure that everybody's getting back in shape. And also at the same time, it gives them a chance to learn what it's like to be participating in an athletic event at a college and studying, and some of them keeping work schedules and everything else at the same time.
Definitely. So since your season starts in January, what is your team doing in the meantime?
We've played approximately 8 different teams and scrimmages and that stuff this fall. Scores in that aren't kept. It's just more or less practice games in that we play. Plus, we are practicing 2 to 3 times a week, couple hours a day, and that stuff just on fundamentals and, like I said, on conditioning.
Definitely. So is your team the same as last year? Is there new players? Could you explain more about that?
No, our team, last year we had a fairly good turnover in that. Once again, we have been fortunate enough to keep some of our main players and that stuff, along with bringing in some other in their support role and being part of our group. We have what we would consider in our sports a very small roster. We carry right around 15, 16 ladies on the roster, and they're all expected to participate, and they're all given the opportunity. Where a lot of 40 players on a roster, and their game time and experience is very, very limited.
Of course. Has COVID affected your team or any of the games?
COVID, I think, has affected everybody. We were actually, this year in the fall, we were shut down for 10 days because of a first body contact and that stuff, so we had to shut down. But we also we do testing, and also we do have to fill out a form online every day. It's just a summary and questionnaire of different things as far as the COVID testing, to see if anybody's come in contact with somebody else and that stuff, so we can avoid it.
Definitely. It's a great way to be safe, of course. So with the vaccines readily available, is the games and tournaments looking more promising towards the future?
Currently, we have a little bit more than half our team is vaccinated. But once again, that's on their own decision on whether they are going to be vaccinated. So, we encourage it, but yet again, it's not mandated.
Definitely. So because you're prepping your team for this season, do you believe your team is ready?
As a coach, they are getting ready. Would we like to be a little bit farther along? You know, we're never at whatever a coach's level wants to be, but the team has improved tremendously. Last year, we were very fortunate. They achieved a goal that hasn't been done. We were regional qualifiers in our N4C conference, which was a tremendous step towards going forward. And I look for a lot more things from them this year.
Of course, and thank you so much for talking about the sports here, as well as the girls softball season, and thank you for joining us today. Oh. And right back to you guys at the studio.
Thanks, Courtney. I can't wait to see how our Stormers do this season.
I can't wait either. After how hard our Stormers are working getting ready for their seasons, I'm sure they'll enjoy something cool and refreshing. MATC's own Chef James has something that should help them out. What do you got for us, James?
Hello, everybody. If you're anything like me, you're a couple weeks into trading out your AC unit for your heater. But if you're like me, you are already missing those warm days of summer. Let's have one last throwback before fall and winter really sets in and make a nice fruit smoothie. Now sit back and relax, or take notes, totally up to you. What you're gonna need for this tasty fruit smoothie is your choice of fruits and a juice. What we're using here is pineapple, cherries, strawberries, and lemonade. Now, you also want to make sure you have a blender, obviously, a 1/2 to 1 cup measure, and a spoon. Also, make sure your fruits are refrigerated or even frozen, because this drink tastes great cold. First, you're going to put your pineapple into the blender. Now, you can measure it out, do about 1/2 cup or a cup, but it's a little easier to just eyeball it because it's up to your taste. Next, add your strawberries. Same amount. Like I said, the amount doesn't really matter as long as it's even amounts of each. And then your cherries. Now what we've got here are already pitted, so no worries. You don't want to bite into that during your smoothie. Gross. Finally, you're going to add your juice. We've got lemonade here, and we're going to want about 3 cups of that. Now what I've got here is a mason jar that's got a 2-cup measure line, so we're going to do a 1.5 of these. And you can use kind of whatever juice you want. You could do pineapple juice, you could do coconut water, but the lemonade makes it a nice, refreshing experience. Do 1 and a half. I'm doing a little less because it's a little full. After that, you're going to put it in here and turn on your blender. After allowing it to blend for a bit, you're going to stop the blender and stir it using a spoon or a spatula or something similar so it can blend evenly, so you don't have any chunks of fruit just kind of swimming around in there. If it's too thick, you can add a little more lemonade, but you should be all right. Now blend it for a little bit longer. And take it, and you can pour it into a cup, or I've got another one of these mason jars, just to feel a little fancy. Pop the top off and pour it in. And there you have it. A nice, refreshing summer memories smoothie to say a full goodbye to the warm weather and get ready for all the cold that's about to come, because we are in Wisconsin. I hope you enjoy it and have a nice day. Now back to you guys in the studio.
Delicioso, yum. Thank you, Chef. That looks great and easy. Perfect for busy students clinging to the last bit of summer. Now see what Audrianna has for us in the MATC Minute.
Make sure you stop by the bakery at the first floor of the M building for some hot coffee, student-made meals, and fresh bakery. The bakery is open every Tuesday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. until December 16th. Students, you can now view Winterim 2021 and Spring 2022 classes through the self-service catalog. Winterim classes start the week of December 19th. MATC's sports team are getting a new logo. Attend the public unveiling Wednesday, November 3rd at Alverno College. Tip-off is at 6 p.m. for the women's game, and the first 200 students will get a free t-shirt. Show your student ID for free admission. This Thursday, November 4th, MATC will be having a virtual open house about their bilingual programs. Chat with instructors and learn about financial aid. There are 2 weeks left to get $100 worth of campus cash that can be used at the downtown Milwaukee campus if you submit your vaccination status. Remember, the deadline for this is November the 15th.
Out, and that means settling into the couch with a blanket to watch a good movie. If you can decide what to watch, student producer Caleb Andrew has found the perfect spot to pick up your favorite.
Tired of Netflix? Have I got the place for you? Hi, I'm student producer Caleb Andrew, and this is your hidden geMKE. If you're a cinephile, or just want to find a good movie to watch this weekend, you might be interested in checking out Video Store. Video Store is, well, a video store. It's located on East Irving Place on the east side of downtown Milwaukee. Founded this year, this location is home to a diverse collection of movies and pop culture memorabilia. It keeps the vintage aesthetic of video stores, even selling VHS copies of your favorite classic films. And if you need your gaming fix, they've got pinball. They're even based around famous blockbusters. This quaint location really makes you feel like you could be the next Quentin Tarantino or Spike Lee working on your next screenplay while browsing through copies of your favorite pieces of cinema. This has been your Hidden geMKE. Now I can't wait to watch Jurassic Park tonight.
Wow, I know where I'm going when I need to find my next movie. Well, guys, that's all the time we have today. Thanks for joining me, Mariella.
Thanks for having me, Audrianna.
I'm your host, Audrianna Hutchinson, and thank you for joining us on this week's MATC Now. We hope you'll join us next week for some more amazing content.